Hey everybody. Hey Deavan.
Hey.
Um, so happy to have you on. We haven't done a live together in a while, so I'm excited to
Oh,
be with you on screen again. And I want to thank everybody for joining us tonight to talk about things the other way related. So let's just like get right into it. Deavan, it was a hard episode tonight that was about your miscarriage and you know, Jahoon's mom took you out and you went to the museum. First of all, I just want to say like that I love that you love history.
I
Um,
do.
that's what I got like my master's in and my bachelor's in. So when you said I love history, I'm like, oh my god, I love you for loving history because not many people can wrap their heads around it. So I was like, oh, I love her even more now.
No,
Um,
I love history. I'm a documentary buff. Like, I know so many random things about everything. And if I learn one thing, I have to watch like seven documentaries about it.
it's great. Like I was like, oh, I love her even more. So what were your thoughts tonight? Like seeing, watching it back and what you were going through because that was like a rough time. I remember when it happened last year, and it wasn't
Yeah.
easy. So what was Yeah, you're a little choppy, Deavan. Like
Sorry.
still,
I think it's because I keep leaning back.
but we could hear you. So as long as we can hear you, then like that's okay. So what were your thoughts about tonight's episode and what went down and everything else?
Yeah, no, it was really hard. It happened a year ago, exactly around a year ago. And during the time, that's kind of like when a lot of the wedding planning was happening. And it was already like shocking news as it was. And to kind of like deal with the behind the scenes when it came to worrying about finances and just trying to get my apartment ready and just being very sad at that time because I didn't know like what was going to happen or any of that stuff. So when that happened, it was just kind of like more rocks added on top of me. And it was just very difficult. But I was very thankful to have my ex's mother there. She had gone through it too. So she was there by my side a lot during that time because my ex wasn't really able to be by my side during that time because of the tradition in Korea for as far as I know, for the husband to, when you invite someone that's close to you, you have to like take him out for the night and treat him good just to give him like a hand invitation. So he was busy doing that during that time. So I was thankful to have his parents because the mom helped me recover healing, and then his dad was watching Drusilla for me.
Oh, and God, if you do hear snoring, Cody is passed out. We ate like a big dinner, and which you saw earlier. So like he is out cold. I tried to wake him up, so he is out like a light. So if you do hear snoring, that is Cody in the background. He is out like a light. So I think somebody just commented like, "What's that in the background?" So that's Cody snoring. He's out cold.
Yeah. And
Um,
my kids are downstairs with my boyfriend, and he's in charge of dinner tonight. So if you hear them playing a ruckus downstairs, that's that. They always have so much fun downstairs.
Somebody just asked, like, these are like delicate questions, and I don't, because I know it was a really rough time on you. Someone, and I don't know how much you want to talk about that because I don't want you to feel
Mhm.
uncomfortable. Someone said, how far along were you in the pregnancy when it happened?
So they're estimating it was really early on. So I went in for an ultrasound at 6 weeks. And then I went back at the 9 week mark, but it was still measuring at the 6 weeks. So it was very soon, it was very early. Um, so I think that's what made it a tiny bit easier. If we were further along, I'm sure it'd be more difficult. And women who have experienced that, like I admire them for staying strong and through that.
Um, it was nice to see you and his mom like getting along so well like tonight. She seemed like, she was very, she wanted to take you out. So like that was like the nicest I've ever seen her with you. Would you agree that that was like, probably like your best moment together?
Yeah, definitely. I think it was, we spent a long time with each other before, I not before, after that, maybe twice. I feel like we get along a lot better when no one else is there. So I feel like when it's just me and her, we're both very quiet people as is. So it was more like, oh, we don't really need to talk too much because that was just both our personality types being alone. And it was nice. That was probably the funnest time I have had with her. Of course, the other times I had the kids, so it was more focused on the kids. But it was the only time we really had one-on-one before. And I did have a good time with that.
How, like, the translator thing, is there, like, you really had to speak everything into the translator that whole time? Like, she doesn't really pick up much, right? And you don't really pick up much Korean. So how painful is that you have to, like, talk into the app, and then I saw that you said on the show, you're like, oh, this museum's really cool, and then, like, you translated, this museum's really chilly, like does she know when, like, there's, like, a mistranslation, or does she just think what the translator is saying is, like, correct?
I think we both understand when it's incorrect. So we were pretty good at picking up that. A lot of things that they didn't show on the show is I actually understand a lot of Korean, and I had studied it for 2 years, and I think they were shying away with that on the show, where I can understand a lot. My problem is just verbally communicating. It's not my strong suit. I can try, but it doesn't come off too well. As for the translator app, of course we had help. We've always had a translator on site, so we did have a lot of help that day.
So when you're filming, there's an actual translator there, like part of production?
Yeah, every time.
Okay, then, well, that's good to know. Because, like, I was trying to, like, I'm like, the only people who really relied on the translator before you was, like, Karini and Paul. And I was going to ask you if you thought that are you better off than Karini and Paul in their translations?
Honestly, I think texting apps like the ones I used to use and the one Paul used, I think it's way more accurate. So I prefer the texting app. It takes a little bit more time, but I feel like with season one, we did a lot with the texting app, so we were able to communicate a lot better. As for season two, production kind of asked us to ditch that out because it was just too hard for them to keep filming our phone screens. So they thought it would be better to use the translation device. That way they could hear it out loud. But it actually just kind of backfired. And then, like, this was like towards the end when we stopped using it, because I think everyone on set at the time, we were just so fed up with it just being so wrong that we started just pulling our phones out and using that instead. And then, of course, the translator who was there, they would translate when it's not important, if that makes sense. Like, for example, if we're having a serious conversation, they try and keep it as real as possible and stay out of that part. But if it's just basic stuff like we did that day, the translator did tend to step in a little bit more, so that way we could move through the museum a lot quicker.
What was I going to ask you? Shoot. So, shit, I forgot what I was going to say. It was about translator. Did you about the translator? So, like you were saying, like, they would step in. So, but would they, like, if you needed something in a pinch, right? Like, you had to, like, convey a message quick to his mother or Jahoon or whoever, could you just say to the translator and they would translate it, and then that would be that?
Yeah, the producer didn't want us to do that too much, but we tend to do that a lot. Obviously, like the tea episode, nobody translated anything. I think that's why emotions were so high, and like it really showed the problem. But at the same time, even if we were only able to use our texting apps, I feel like that was a lot better communication, even if we didn't have a translator on set. So I think, like, the translator device, just horrible, because, like, the texting worked just fine. We were cool with that. And I feel like even if we didn't have a translator on set, the phone would have just been fine, but we weren't using that at all.
Lewis just asked, I have one question for you, Deavan. Let's see. When Drusilla ran away from you on the TV show, why did you run after her? Well,
yeah, I'm more than happy to answer that. So the scene you guys saw on the show was not actually the scene where it happened, and TLC has publicly came out and said that as well, and they have apologized to me. So the scene where you guys see her running off, that happened an hour beforehand. The actual scene was we were actually done filming. We had hung up our microphones, everything, cameras were being down. And I was putting Tam in the car because we were going to go get food. And my ex was in charge of watching Drusilla. And as I'm putting Tam in the car, I look up and she was off. He was on his phone. And that's really what happened. And that's why on the TV show, all of a sudden you see my producer in the middle of the street asking what happened. And then it cuts to us in the playground, which makes no sense. I thought more people would pick up and be like, oh, why are they in the street talking about it happening? But then all of a sudden it shows us on the playground, which are two really far away from each other. And what they made us do is they asked us to re-record what we said in a microphone. So they could do a cue card. They told me they were going to do a cue card saying like, oh, we didn't catch this on film, but then they were going to include the audio. Of course, that's not what happened. And Chelsea apologized for me on that. And it's unfortunate because a lot of people don't understand like what the full thing was, and what really happened was a lot more extreme as to what they showed. So it did come off very bad on everyone's end. Like we were all being too emotional, but they didn't necessarily show.
You had to reshoot that. I mean, the whole thing, like, right?
So what they had us do is they said that they were just going to put like a cue card that they didn't catch it on film. And they asked us to at least re-record what we said. And so I had to go out into the middle of the street the next day, and they asked me to like yell, like, oh, just yell, Gino, get her. And that's what I did. And then they were going to have him record. And unfortunately, what he said wasn't what he actually said the day before. Because in reality, what he said was much worse. I'm not going to get too much into my ex, but that's what happened, and it's really unfortunate. And we've tried to explain it. It is what it is. And if people pay attention and notice that my producer's in the middle of the street with me, confused, asking what happened, and you notice how the camera crew is all of a sudden picking up their cameras, that the scene they show makes no sense because we're in a completely different area all of a sudden, and cameras and mics are on. But people didn't put two and two together.
Okay, so my fan page says, how long did you live in Korea altogether? I realized you went back and forth. I think you said you went live, like, I think like you were doing your hair or whatever. You said you were like the first season, you were only there for like 9 days or something like that, right?
Yeah. So the first season, I was only there for 9 days. They make it look like I was gone much longer. But originally I'd only planned to be there for a week and get things ready. That's why Drusilla didn't come with me. And then I was going to go back and get her. But we didn't have anything ready, so I just went back and stayed. As for season 2, we filmed for a very long time. We filmed for a year. Everything you guys are seeing happened exactly a year ago at this point. Last week's episode was like a year and a half ago. Altogether, let's see, we moved there when Taeyang was 3, almost 4 months old. And then I moved back 6 months ago. So total, I was only there like for 8 months, but out of those 8 months, I spent 2.5 in America, like visiting and stuff.
Okay. Yeah, because I remember you saying, I'm like, wow, 9 days. And I remember when you were saying that on your live, I'm like, Deavan, shut up, don't get in trouble. But like, they're, the whole show is based upon like, moving to the other country and like, going the other way. And like, you're like, I was there for 9 days. Like, it was like, I'm like, oh my God. Like, they kind of just put like,
Yeah, I've been very open and public about that. I'm sure they're not happy at me because I admitted it a year ago. And, reality of the fact is this is the reality. And you're trying to show your reality. I'm also going to show my reality.
Okay, so did you adapt to the food well? And my sub question to that is that did you ever find ranch dressing?
So I did end up getting ranch dressing. It was actually from my friend who works on base. She's my photographer out there. She's amazing. She bought me hot Cheetos, ranch, all that stuff, and she would give it to me whenever she could. As for stores, I couldn't find it. Did I adapt to the food well? I like the food. Sadly, the food they showed on the show is like very, very traditional, and it's not something typical people would eat. So I really loved the food. The food was great. I had no issues. The only thing I had issues with was blood soup. Didn't like it. And yeah, and obviously bugs and snails. Those are the things I couldn't, no matter how much they wanted me to
Were
eat
you
it.
filming for Survivor? Like, no, not for me. No, thank you. No, I would
Yeah.
not. No, not that's listen. If that's your cup of tea, it's not mine. So
Right.
I would be there with you on that one. Okay, so suffragette. John, thank you for always having a great hunt in your live streams. Deavan, all the best for you and your family. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to like go through some of the questions because we're gonna move on to the next topic, which will be I think somebody just mentioned it, so I want to acknowledge them. But the chats are coming in hot. Thank you for great content. Thank you, Katie. Okay, so let's talk about like I can't find the exact comment. I don't want to like go on and on. Sorry. So how? Okay, so everyone's like, okay, the blood soup. No, I can't. Sorry, that's like eating like brains. Like, no, I can't. No, I wouldn't be able to do blood soup. Not listen, everybody has their like all cultures have their cuisine. Not for me. Okay, so how did you find your new man? Like you're getting a lot of flack over like oh, she moved on so quickly, and can you elaborate on any of that, like how it came to be, how it happened?
Yeah, of course. So, as for people like saying I moved on too quickly, I see their point of view completely. But at the same time, you got to take mental into it. At that point, Jihoon and I had both been mentally out of love for a very long time. So that's also what helped us both move forward with future relationships, because when you're both mentally over each other for a long time, that's also a factor. As for my boyfriend, I don't know if I should call him Topher or Chris. Everyone calls him Topher, so I'll say Topher. So the way I met Topher was I was flying to Korea the first time back in November. It was right before I was filming. It would be the first time I met Jihoon's family. What had happened, we were in LAX and we were transferring flights, and we just happened to be sitting next to each other. We talked, and then we got on the plane. We weren't sat by each other. I think a lot of people were wondering that. We weren't sat by each other, but we connected. And then when we got off the plane, it was just like, hey, bye. Great talk. He was going to go see his ex-girlfriend, and I was seeing my ex. So nothing there. We didn't swap numbers, none of that, nothing like that.
You didn't actually ID like other people have. I'm sorry, that was like just some shade that somebody else got. Sorry, I couldn't help myself. Go ahead.
No. So it's funny because we're actually from the same hometown in California. A lot of people don't know that I lived in a different place before Utah. So we are both from the same hometown, and we had a mutual friend in that same hometown. And they were just scrolling through their Instagram, and I popped up on the feed, and he's like, bro, I know that person. And that was by the time I actually had came back to America 6 months ago. And he just followed me, and he's like, oh my gosh, it's so crazy. I can't believe you used to be from this city. And then we just started talking and having communication that way. And then I had flown over there for our first date, and we spent the weekend together, a quarantine date session. And I had left, and then 3 weeks later, he came to see me, and we just been kind of like just together all the time after that. But he's a great person. He's really kind. I don't want people to think anything weird. It was just a coincidence. And it's really funny because we found out like he was in New York the same time as me, which was crazy. And we didn't even know this, that we're from the same hometown, that we were on these flights at the same time. And we just think it's super crazy how the world works. And we just like to think that the world was trying to give us a chance to meet, but we just kept like walking past each other.
Oh, that's like how is he with like the kids? How is he with Drusilla, and how is he with Taeyang?
Yeah, he is so good. I am like shocked. So he has never had experience with kids. He's a very calm human being. He's like my dad. That's the best way to explain him. Like Steve, not like my dad, but you know what I mean. Like my father, Steve. They're very similar personalities when it comes to just being calm, cool, collected. And him, when he met the kids, like instantly just he fell in love with Taeyang. He fell in love with Drusilla. They're always together. Taeyang is super attached to him, will never leave him. And he just would ask questions like, oh, is this how this works? Is this what we do? He's very like, he always wants to be informed and ask me things. And he's just super great. And he never gets angry. He's just always this happy, calm human. And it's just so nice to have him here because he just keeps us all like at ease, and he's been really helping with all of the tough stuff that's going on
Is
lately.
he in like is he like by you full time now? Because I know you were traveling to did he move?
Yes, so we do live together.
Oh,
We
that's even
yeah,
news to me. Like I didn't even know that.
uh, yeah, we do live with each other. It just kind of happened with like quarantine and just like it just felt right with just everything, and we really thought about it, really talked about it, and to some people it may be fast, and we both can understand that. And we've thought about everything, and you know, if this is how we feel, we should give it a shot instead of waiting 2 years and then finding out, oh, it's not gonna work, if that makes sense.
No, like yeah, listen, like why, if you think it makes sense to me, it might not make sense to everybody else.
Yeah.
People want to pick at things, and you know how it
Mhm.
is, Devin. You know
Yeah,
what,
it's
you know what,
understandable.
I mean, people just want to make things out of nothing. Someone
Hmm.
just said it's like a revolving door of dads, poor kids. Like,
Hmm. Well, I get that comment a lot. Drusilla has never met any of my exes that I was dating. Jihoon would be the first man she was ever introduced to. Um, Obviously, I have full custody of her. She's never met her bio. Um, and so she doesn't know anything better. And a lot of people think I force her upon these things. I've never once told her to call my ex like dad or any of that. That was all on if she was comfortable with it. She chose not to. She stuck with Junie. And it's gonna be the same with Topher if we ever get married and that kind of thing. Like that's something she needs to warm up to. And I know exactly what she's going through because Steve is not my real dad. And Steve started dating my mom around the same time. So I understand the confusion and when that's right. And I think I would never force that on her. And that's up to her, like the way it was up to me with Steve. And eventually I had asked him if it was okay. And this was by the time they were married. I was like, hey, is it okay? Like, will you be my dad? And by this time, him and my mom were already married. Um, and that's what I'm going to do with her as well.
um, I'm gonna try. I'm reading the comments. And I keep getting sidetracked. Have you had any contact with Jahoon? Like, what's going? Can you speak on that? Like, if is there any because I keep I've saw that like he posted. And I to everybody who's like in the chat, because I read these like oh, John only talks to Devin. Listen, if Jahoon wants to talk to me, he's more than welcome. I post Devin stuff and I post Jahoon stuff. Like I obviously I love Devin, but that wouldn't stop me from if he
Yeah,
wants to say something.
I think you're very fair. Even with you knowing the actual stuff and seeing everything, like he is so fair, trust me. As far as my ex, I am blocked on social media. All my family is blocked on social media. Even my boyfriend is blocked. Like none of us can necessarily get a hold of him because he's blocked us on everything. And right now we have a court case going on, and this court case will decide all of that. And he knows that he's more than welcome to come here. The reason why I will not go over there, obviously, because of what happened to my daughter. I don't think it's also my responsibility. I think it's his responsibility if he wants to come here. And also with Korea having quarantine, if we were to go there, we would be stuck in quarantine in a facility for 2 weeks. As if he were to come here, he knows he would not be stuck in quarantine, and he's more than welcome to. And we're not holding him, but we don't know why he hasn't reached out to us or any of that. Instead, he has been posting, and I see those posts, and I think that's fine. But there comes a time where you can't just walk out, but court is going to handle it. That's what's going on right now. As for like the boxes that were sent,
I was going to ask you about that. Like, have you received anything? Because I see in the stories that he's sending stuff. So what's going on with that?
So that's not him sending it. There's someone in California that he is a fan who has been buying the stuff. It's not even him buying it. It's this fan. I don't know who this fan is. I know nothing about this fan. But we have strong beliefs that this fan is the same person that's been sending us very scary messages. And we got to the police about it. And we're uncomfortable with the fact that he is getting fans our address when he can ship things from Korea, and he can still buy things on Amazon that are in America and ship it here. There's no reason to involve an outside party that we both don't know. He's never met this person. I've never met this person. And we were very scared. We had to relocate twice. As for any boxes, we got one. There was one box. The clothes were 6 months. Our son is almost 2. As for the box he showed on his Instagram story, I haven't seen it.
Okay, Peaches wanted me to ask you this question. Let's see. Can John please ask Deavan if she thought maybe moving a man in might be traumatic for the child that got assaulted? I guess meaning Drusilla.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. I took that into high consideration. We are both aware of what happened. Chris knows everything. And when it comes to Drusilla, I am always going to make sure she's 100% okay with anything that I decide. And just personality-wise and red flag-wise, I don't see those signs. As for my ex, I did see those signs, and I'm very upset I didn't read into it, but I'm being very cautious as a mother, and I would never put her through that again.
And are you stopping Jahoon from seeing Taeyang in any way? Can he leave Korea tonight, get on a plane, and go visit him like tomorrow if he wanted?
Yeah, if he wanted to, he can. We never once said that he can't, and we never once said we were withholding him from him. And if he wants to call, he can, but he hasn't. And that's what upsets us the most about everything going on is it's not it's not what we're comfortable with, but we're still willing to do that. And he's not on his end. And I think he knows that. And that's just the way it is. And I'm just going to take it to the courts and see what's going to happen with that.
Do you obviously I know more than I can say, and we've been friends for a while now, so it's hard for me to ask you questions without like giving something away or saying something that's I shouldn't. Shit.
No worries.
I'm trying to phrase this the right way. That way, like I can dance kind of around it. You know what? Never mind, because there's no way I could ask this question without giving something away. So never mind. Are you done with TLC? Like, is there like are you good? Do you plan on being on the show again, or like do you feel like I know that you've said in the past that TLC kind of has portrayed you in not a great light. So. Are you done with everything? Like, is this it?
I'm 100% done. 100% done. I tried my best with my contract and did everything that they wanted me to, protecting. But then the one thing they promised me they couldn't return. And that's why I've been more open, and they're aware of that. And they're also aware of everything that happened to my daughter. So it's just something that I can't forgive. Now, I'm not blaming them for anything, but when we created, like, I was with them for 2 years. We filmed straight for 2 years for season 1 and 2 combined. So building those close relationships and bonds with my, my producer, it really broke my heart to see that happen, because I put all my trust into them for season 2.
I mean, someone just asked, will you be on the tell-all? And you're not. We already spoke about that a couple of months ago. You're not going to be on the tell-all.
Nope.
And
not at all.
Can you just remind people why not? Just so if they didn't watch the first time we had you on, I think we were on Monica's channel the first time when you spoke about it.
There's a lot of factors into it. It was the fact that Jihoon wasn't going to be on because I didn't want to film with him. And at the same time, like, that's when Jihoon broke NDA and came out about us not being together, even though I tried really hard to keep that on the DL. So he was kind of in hot water with them as is. And then I was just very back and forth saying, I don't want to do it with him. And then eventually the lawyer did call me and was like, we've decided that it's probably not best to put you through that situation. So it was like a mutual decision. But overall, I want to say TLC pulled the card. And I think it has to do with just the situation with Drusilla. It's just something that's too heavy. And it's something that shouldn't be aired.
Did they film it already? Do you know? Or can you say?
I'm not sure. All I know is that they were supposed to film it in September, then it got pushed back to October. So I'm assuming they have.
Like, did you ever get in any trouble for breaking like your contract or the NDA or whatever? Did they ever penalize you for anything or?
No, not that I know of.
Okay, well, good. So far.
Not that I know of. I think we both broke our contracts. They originally broke the one with me first. So I think that just kind of cuts it out.
Like, one thing about you and Jihoon, like, and watching this whole season, which has been like on for like, I feel like it's been like this season's been on for like 5 years already. Like,
yeah, it's been like 6 months. It's crazy.
That you and Jihoon are on literally every episode, every one.
Yes, we're on every single episode this season, I think, except for 2.
And you don't see that with all the other couples. Like, I can't remember an episode when you weren't on it.
Yeah, no, definitely. We were the first couple to start filming season 2. As far as I know, originally it was going to be 12 episodes. And then after we filmed like up into the tea house, that's before they filmed anyone else. And that's when TLC saw the footage and they actually called for 24 episodes. So leave it at that.
Everyone keeps saying, great question, Heidi. And I'm trying to find her question so I could ask it. Heidi said, do you hold yourself accountable for anything?
Of course, all the time. The things that happened, I hold myself accountable 100%. I was supposed to protect my family, and I went to Korea when I shouldn't have. And I am very hard on myself, and I'm very critical of myself of that. I'm also, there are certain things that unfortunately, I feel like me and my ex were done before we even started filming season 2. And I feel like we both internally just carried it out for the show. I can't speak on him, but I feel like we both mentally felt that way. And I wish instead of pushing through for a show, we were just both honest with our hearts and didn't cause all of this drama to happen. And I hold myself accountable for that. I should have never went to Korea. I should have stuck with the way I felt. And instead of filming the show because I needed money, I should have just stayed home.
I'm just kind of because I want, like, I know you get a lot of hate. I'm trying to like just get like people, if we could just clear some things up real quick. Mm-hmm. Someone said, why haven't you taken care of Drusilla's teeth? They're all rotten.
So her teeth, they're taken care of. That's why she has caps. that happened. I've addressed this before. So it actually happened in Las Vegas.
Wait, like they're the baby teeth, they're all gonna fall out. Like, why would you put caps on? Like, because she's gonna lose all those teeth.
Yeah, most people don't do that, and people are mad that I went and took her to a dentist and capped them. But then they say I should have took care of them in the beginning. But when we were in Las Vegas filming, she had caught a viral infection, and it had caused her teeth to just go really bad in just 3 days. It happens. We don't know why it happened before that. She had these beautiful, lovely teeth, and we had taken her in, being like, "Oh my gosh, what's going on?" And we took her in like 2 days later. That's why on the show she was sick. In reality, it was her teeth, so we had to hurry and take her to Utah. And then we got her teeth fixed, and unfortunately, we couldn't save the front teeth. There was no reason to save them at that point, so they had pulled the front teeth. And then with her remaining teeth that she has all of her teeth, just not the two front ones.
Those are the baby teeth. You know, she's gonna get like her adult teeth, like, you know, in like a few years. So
I think people are just very critical when it comes to that kind of stuff.
You know, people are saying, "Oh, you give her too much fruit juice or whatever." Like, you know,
I see that a lot. The fruit juice thing, it's 100%. Like, it's 100% organic, so it doesn't have the added on sugars that like some apple juices may have. And it is true that juice can eat away at your I can't say the word. Sorry. That is true. But as for baby teeth, they do fall out. And we take care of our children's teeth. They brush them 3 times a day like any other kid, and it just happens.
And how is she doing? Because, like, you know, last week, you know, you posted about her having the Bell's palsy, which was like sad. I feel so bad for Giselle. Like, this poor girl. Like, she can't see
through the ringer. I know.
So how you know, what made you think about, you know, what happened with the Bell's palsy? And, like, you know, the picture kind of says it all. I mean, it looks very specific to that, but, like, you know, what kind of happened with that?
Well, so it happened like a week before we really got concerned. She had said something like, why can't I move my smile? And so we thought she was joking and just smiling on one end, like making silly faces. And then I think 2 days had passed, and then I noticed it, and I was like, oh, it really is like that. And I started panicking, and, you know, I studied medicine in school, so, you know, everything was going through my head, and then everything was just going back to Bell's palsy. No one knows exactly why it's caused. They think it happens from a viral infection. People saying it's from stress. That's not true. A lot of people are saying, oh, she has it from stress. It's not true. It happens from a viral infection. And it can take anywhere from 2 weeks to 6 months to heal. Luckily, we've been doing a lot of facial exercises, and she has, like, it's almost there. She can't close her eye all the way, but she's almost there. So I'm hoping in 1 week her smile is going to be back, and she'll be able to close her eye, and everything will be fine.
So it's improving. It's like, you know, it's you know, because I don't know much about this. Like, I've heard about it, but, like, you know, so it, you know, it's not permanent, and it could, you know, go away. And it's improving.
Yeah, it can go away. It can take years, it can take months, and it can always come back. There's small cases where it will stay stuck, but luckily she is healing, and we're so proud of that. We were really worried about her. She was very heartbroken that she couldn't smile all the way, but she's smiling again, and it makes us so happy.
Good. You know, and, like, because people are going off on the juice, and I'm trying to read the comments. Like, you know, they're saying there's sugar in organic juice, there's fructose, there's this, there's that. Like, that Topher was, you know, giving a bottle of apple juice to Tinging on a live or whatever. Like, you know, I don't know. I'm not a parent. I have cats, so I don't know.
It's ridiculous. These are the same people who buy their kids Happy Meals every day. So it's juice. It's not like he drinks it all day. It's ridiculous. You drink juice in daycare all day. You know, it's one of the most ridiculous things I've ever heard, why people are so upset about that, and people want to, like, call CPS over it when there's kids out there being beaten and molested, and those are the kids that need to be saved. When you're upset that a child had a little bit of juice, it's ridiculous to me, and it just shows that they're not focused on the right thing. when we should be focusing on children who are being abused.
That's insane. I mean, about like the CPS over juice.
Yeah, it's
I mean,
ridiculous.
like I'm not a parent, so I don't want to piss parents off. Like, but like, what are you supposed to give? Like, like I know when I was a kid, I drank soda out of a bottle that my mother gave me, which probably not the best thing, But
We all had juice out of a sippy cup when we were kids, so I don't. Everyone's just freaking out. They want to find any small thing and just complain when they should be focusing on kids that are being hurt, and that's something me and my mother are very passionate about. So it's very unfortunate that they're upset about that. But most of the time, it's the same people who are giving their kids McDonald's every day or giving them soda every day. And I just came to, just deal with it. They don't know that he drinks water. They don't know that he eats really healthy. They don't know these things on the inside. And just seeing a child drinking apple juice like being such a huge deal, it blew my mind. It just blew my mind.
All right, so like I'm just trying to, because I don't want to keep you on much longer. Is there like anything that so can you speak like are you in the process of like getting divorced from him? Like is
Oh yeah. I've been working the process for a while now, and the lawyer just needs him to sign, and that's what we're waiting for, is for him to sign.
Okay. You have any like insights about like, can you speak about like the rest of the cast that's on your season? Like, do you have any
I can say this. I can say this. I have been told by more than one cast member that their story is not 100% and that they're doing this for more than one. I won't say exactly, but more than one cast member has randomly messaged me and has told me that this is why they're doing the show, or like would open up about like their story not being 100% true, and more than one. And it's crazy.
I know who you're talking about. I wish I could.
You're talking about two people, two different, well, technically four if you count the significant other, but yeah, it's mind-boggling that because we didn't do the show for that. Like it was very random how we were casted. It wasn't, we knew nothing about it. So when I hear these people are like, oh yeah, we did this for this, and this is what we're trying to get out of it, and it just kind of blows my mind a bit. I don't understand it. In our situation, it's like, shoot, we already signed this contract. Like, crap.
How about the people that give you like flack for the OnlyFans? And I follow you on OnlyFans, so like, how do you like respond to those people who give you a hard time about that?
First, my OnlyFans is not nude.
And it's not. I can vouch for that. Girls, no, it's not.
It's very PG-13. It's nothing showing. I don't do nudes. I think a lot of people are more upset because of last week's episode. And I think it's very different than being open and honest with your partner that you're looking at these things rather than hiding it, if that makes sense. As for like, I know so many people who are on my OnlyFans, they follow it, and when they message me, they talk about their girlfriends, and they'll send me pictures being like, oh, do you think she's gonna like this? I'm doing this for her, like stuff like that. It's very innocent. As to what happened with my ex, unfortunately, a lot more happened with this particular female. I won't go further into it because it was not on the show, and I was trying to get him to talk about it, but he would not talk about it. But there was unfaithfulness going on with a girl in Japan, and he knows that, and it was when I was pregnant, and that's what I was trying to talk about. And then I also wanted to know more about why are these other girls here too, because these pictures weren't like, they got them off the site. It was selfies sent. And there's a huge difference between private messaging someone and sending selfies than subscribing to someone you're a fan of just, it doesn't make sense to me. But yes.
Kristen asks, on the last episode, it appeared as if you didn't watch Drusilla at all while you were at the park. Did you know the lady who was shown watching your daughter, or was it just some random lady at the park?
What, I don't know what happened last episode. I didn't watch it.
You were at the park, and then I guess some lady watched Drusilla, and they're asking if if you knew the lady who was watching Drusilla, or if you just picked some random woman out of the park. Oh, hey, random woman, can you come watch my child?
So that's Rosa. She was my personal assistant on the show. She's amazing. Drusilla loves her to death. Rosa was with Drusilla a lot during filming. That way we were able to get scenes done, and Rosa also watched Han a lot. That's why sometimes people are like, oh, where's Drusilla? Where's Han? Where the heck are they? They were with Rosa. She's amazing. I love her so much. She's the most amazing person in the world. She still talks to the kids all the time. She's always calling me, checking in to see how they are. They have a great bond. Anytime we film something with other kids, they were always with Rosa near us. Never.
You didn't watch the episode. People are saying that lady wasn't Spanish, that it was like a friend of Jehoon. At any rate, it seems like you guys already know the answer to it. Either it wasn't a random at the end of the day. And you didn't watch the episode, so you have no idea.
Oh, the park where we were with the friends. Yeah, no, that was Rosa. There was also another woman there who was the wife of one of the men, and she was playing around because there was actually kids there too that came with the men, because one of them had 2 kids and they were playing together with Drusilla, but that woman was Rosa, or it was the other mother there. We would never leave her unsupervised, and also Ji-hoon was there, and it wasn't like we would leave her alone with anyone. Never. I don't trust anyone alone with my kids, honest.
Someone just asked, how does Topher get along with your mom and the family? Like, does everybody approve of him? Like, how is he, like, received well?
Oh, my family loves him. They think he's so nice. He's just the kindest person. He fits right in. He's, like I said, he's very calm, like Steve. They get along great. My mom thinks he's just so amazing, and she actually broke down the other night and was like thanking him for really helping me through this hard time. So it's really a great relationship there.
Someone said, Deavan, your OnlyFans is not PG-13. Deavan, OnlyFans is not PG-13. Your OnlyFans. Listen, I follow Deavan on OnlyFans. I've never seen anything. Maybe it's like rated R. But like, it's, you don't see, like, it's definitely not like NC-17. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, definitely not. I don't do nudity. No, she's upset that I said the word 13. So dumb. So dumb. Anyways.
Trying just like, is there any, like, I don't want to keep this going because I feel like I'm just trying to ask, answer questions from people like that have been like, hot topics, and if you can clearly air on it. Thank you, Christy. I'm sorry, I'm trying to go through the comments real quick. Is there like another person that's not Rosa? Because everyone's saying that this woman is Korean whoever watched Drusilla at the park is, a Korean woman.
Rosa is Korean.
Oh, well, then there you go.
Yeah.
So there it is. We're good. Oh, what about the dog? Can you elaborate on like the whole dog thing?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I talked about that. What happened was over a year ago. I had addressed it a year ago, and it came back, which is fine. I expected it to come back a year later. So what happened with our puppy was I was doing a live stream, and Drusilla was playing with the puppy in a way she shouldn't have, and I have accepted that, and I said that even last year. And she was playing with him, and what had happened is she kind of like was lifting him up, and then I told her not to do that, and then you hear a loud crash. So a lot of people thought that was the puppy, but in reality that was Drusilla. Drusilla had fallen off, and I got off the live stream immediately. And we talked to her. We explained to her why we don't do that, why we need to treat puppies right. And also I made sure she was okay. And I addressed that a year ago and let everyone know that's what happened. But people aren't showing that. Of course not. As for the puppy, I don't want to talk about my ex. He's not the nicest to dogs that aren't his dog. And he got rid of it. He found a family and just got rid of the puppy, and Drusilla was devastated. She's heartbroken. She still cries and says she wants her puppy nearly every other night. And it's unfortunate that this is what happened, and I could see people's point of view. But
well,
everyone does.
You said don't throw a puppy. That dog was thrown far. I'm just trying to. You could see the dog flying in the background. I'm just reading the people's comments.
Yeah, no, the screen grab that people are showing, it's a screen grab, and the thing you see isn't the puppy. I don't know where people are getting that. She was tossing him, but she didn't throw him across the room like everyone is claiming with this one screen grab. I've seen everything. I was there when it happened. The puppy was fine. We talked to my daughter about it. She was 3 years old at the time. And we told her how you should probably handle a puppy. And I addressed that a year ago, that we don't do that. And this is why we don't do that. And she learned a lesson that day. And that's all that matters, is that the puppy's fine. And we taught her a lesson not to do that. I don't know what anyone else wants. Like, I don't understand what else they want me to do, especially with something that happened a year ago that I addressed several times.
God, like I don't even want to ask these questions. I feel it's like insulting to people. Are saying, "Is your daughter autistic?"
No.
Like,
people ask that all the time. She's not. She's so fine. She's very smart. I think people seem to forget she was 2 years old in season 1, and she was barely 3 years old in season 2.
how do you deal with like all this stuff? People constantly questioning your mothering, and I have my little puppy right here. How do you deal with like people constantly questioning everything you do? You know, with Drusilla or Taeyang, and I mean, you're pretty much, according to some people, the world's worst mother. They say Drusilla is not behaved well and runs rampant, and no one can control her, and what do you say about all that? Like,
it's the same thing, that they're not with her all the time. People who've actually met my daughter know she's very sweet, she's very loving, she's very calm. Obviously the show, it was a storyline. They told me the storyline from the beginning. My interview, they told me word for word what to say in my interviews. It was a storyline. They wanted to play off this storyline. It'd be so funny. It would be so funny if she was just all over the place, and their Asian family would just be so funny. But people don't know that. They don't know the behind the scenes. They don't know the actual thing. And that's why people who watch my YouTube videos are like, oh my God, she's so different, she's so nice, like all this stuff, because it's a show, and they can't wrap it around their brains. It's a show. And it breaks my heart that my ex is using the show to further lie and hurt a little girl. She gets death threats all the time. Like, some of the messages are so vulgar and disgusting that I can't believe people like that exist. And they don't know the truth. They don't know how we are day to day. She's such a sweet girl, and any fans who have met her in person are so shocked by how well behaved and kind she is. And on the show, that's what happens when you give a 3-year-old a bunch of snacks and candy from producers who are constantly giving her sugar, who are constantly doing this and telling her to run around and do this stuff because it would be fun. So I don't think people realize that's the job of a producer.
I mean, listen, like, I'm not a parent, and it's hard for me to, because like, obviously I don't have a child, and I don't know what it's like to raise one, and but like I know I've family that have children, and I have friends that have children, and I've seen some of my own friends' children who are 2 and 3 and 4 years old run rampant and out of control. And you're a young mom. I don't know. Maggie says, Deavan, we have seen and heard her acting wild on your own lives, not the show. I mean, like, is it so unusual for like a 4 or 3 or 5-year-old to sit in one place all day and be quiet and read a book? Or, I mean, like, how
Not
often
gone well.
does that happen? Like, that's like, and listen, I'm sure that there are, kids, I guess, who sit and, I know when I was 5, I would be running around like crazy. But like, I don't know.
I think I worked in a daycare, so I just know every child's different, and most of the time, these people who say these cruel things, they don't have children. They don't understand, and if they do have children, they're forgetting that tantrums happen. Like it's very unfortunate that people are not allowing children to be children, and that's how children are. That's how children learn. And with these people who say these things, I feel like they don't have children, and if they do have children, they're pretending their child's never had a tantrum or is just sitting in the corner somewhere. And if that's true, that's really sad, because kids should be able to have fun and walk around and just live normal in their house day to day. It's so silly to me.
Kathy asked, what's your next move? Like, what's in the future for you? I'm trying to find the question. Sorry. There's questions coming in like hot. So I'm trying to like read as much as I can, but while paying attention to you. But what's your next move? How do you see yourself in the future? Like, what are you gonna do?
So we've been working on a documentary.
And someone just asked when that's coming out too. So that's here we go. A and B.
Hopefully December, possibly being pushed back to January, just depending how editing's going. We're putting a lot of effort into this, and it's going to tell our truth. It's going to show who we really are, and we're not going to be biased. We're like leaving it the way it is. This is how life is, and we thought it would be better to do a documentary, and then people can really open their eyes on the difference between reality TV and actual real life. And it's also going to be focusing on a lot of creating my boyfriend. He has his magazine, and it's going to kind of show that process and us getting ready for that, as well as real life at home stuff, and then also focusing on the tragedies in reality TV. There's been a lot of people who have committed suicide this year who were reality TV stars, and it's unfortunate because people do not see how toxic this industry really is.
Now, has Topher, because I know, everybody pretty much found his Instagram by now. Not that you guys are hiding it or whatever, but like, has he been getting backlash at all from like everything and you and the show? Like, have they been bothering him?
Definitely. He gets a lot of trolls on his account. Luckily, he's smart, and that's not his main one. So it doesn't bug him. He doesn't let it get to him. He gets nasty messages about the kids, and it breaks his heart that people don't see the reality, because he wasn't involved in the show. He came at a time where the show was already filmed, and he knows the process, but he didn't go through the process. So he just finds this world to be very interesting because he's seeing it during the airing time. Filming's easy, but the airing and the aftermath is not. And he just thinks it's really crazy and very mind blown after knowing the truth and how it works. And he's just working through it. He's really nice. I don't think it bugs him at all, honesty.
Suffragem says, kids are different. Give her a break. Drusilla's happy, active, curious child. Keep being you, Deavan. Keep ignoring the haters.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
So RF just says, why are you continuing to put your kids in the public eye? I mean, like, are they in the public eye still? I mean, they were on the show, but like, I mean, like, you did post about the Bell's palsy and like,
Yeah, that's more because I'm a mom. Moms want to show their kids off, they want to share, and unfortunately, like, how do I explain this? Like, most, you go to any other person's Instagram, they show their kids, they're very proud of their kids, they want to show that. And for me, it's just different because I happen to have a lot of followers, and that's the unfortunate aspect. I just want to be a normal mom where I'm like, oh my God, they look cute today. but everyone wants to take that and saying like, oh, she's just using her kids for clout, and that would never be the case. It's the fact that I'm very proud of my children.
Sue said most people are not commenting or targeting your kids. They are targeting you because you don't acknowledge any wrongdoings. But I want to say something, like, you know, and this was sent to me. Hold on, let me just get rid of this real quick. For Halloween, like, and I know you saw it. There was like a horrible meme made of Drusilla for Halloween.
Yeah, it was
like,
horrible.
you know, kind of, you know, having her on a table and getting like, you know,
it was
like
sick.
Sick. And it's, and people were sending it to me. I'm like, you know, and I didn't send that to you because I'm like, I can't show that to Deavan. You know, I'm like, I don't even want her to see that. It was really awful.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, how do you feel about, like, you know, I mean, that was just rancid. And like, you know, it's just not you. Like, a lot of the kids from cast members get attacked.
Mm-hmm.
And when they say, you know, these pages and groups like, oh, kids are not off limits. Like, and these are parents and grandparents who are posting horrible things about, making memes about children. Like, how do you respond? Like, how do you see something that awful and like not want to go like ballistic, pretty much?
These are the same people, and I'm going to be a little graphic. That picture was my daughter being brutally, like, she's being murdered on a table, and everyone was like, oh, we're going to go after her. And I was getting messages, oh, yeah, we can't wait to go after your daughter. Like, we had death threats for my daughter over this. And I just remember seeing that. I was very disgusted. And these same people who are like making those memes of my daughter being murdered and saying that they're going to come murder my daughter are the same people who say I'm a horrible person. And when I think of that, I just brush it off because I would never in a million years do that to a child, make a meme and laugh about it or make fun of a child. I think that's really wrong. I'm all about children, and it just really breaks my heart that people do that, whether it be my child or any other child. I don't think children should go through that. And I don't think just because they're on TV gives it an okay to harass a child. I think that's absolutely ridiculous. That's their excuse.
Yeah, like, and like people were like, you have to show this to Deavan. I'm like, I can't even show this to Deavan. I didn't. I'm like, because
I got fans. I got like mass, and that wasn't the only one. There was a lot, and there was a whole Facebook group that was reported talking about how they were going to murder my daughter. So it's very disgusting and sad. And
yeah, I'm like, I didn't send it. I'm like, I can't show this to somebody. Not even if it was you. If it was any parent, like, you know, I'm like, nope, not me. Yeah. I'm not going to do it. Like, you know. Okay, so let me see. All right, so I want to kind of close this up because we're at an hour now. How do you feel? Okay, so it's been said like you're a liar. You know, your timeline doesn't match up. Like, you know, you're making things up, and that's like even in the chat now, like, oh, Deavan's lying. So what do you say about that?
You know, the truth comes out, and that's what court's for. As for the timeline, I don't think people take into consideration that I had an NDA, so I had to lie about us being okay. And I've said that several times, that, you know, we had to pretend everything was okay on YouTube. We had to pretend everything was okay on Facebook, Instagram, all that stuff. And that's why everyone gets confused about the timeline. And then they get confused because there was a picture of Drusilla FaceTiming, even though you can clearly see it's just a photo. It's not a real FaceTime thing. And we had to post that because production asked us to post it because the story was starting to leak out and they wanted us to save it. And I don't think people are ever going to understand that aspect unless they're in the industry. They're not going to understand the NDA process of it, you know, because these are the same people who believe reality TV's real. So no matter how much I explain why I did it and my NDA and storyline things and tell them that's how it works, I don't think they're going to believe it, because it's the same people who think reality TV is 100% real.
Well, and for those people, like, yeah, like real, you know, I could attest to, like, you know, it not being. What would you say the percentage of, like, you know, you're a cast member on the show and you're done. Like, what would you say would be a percentage of what was actually real and fake on your storyline? Would you say it was 50% real, 50% fake? Like, you know, what would the percentage be of, like, your story or your journey on the show?
It's hard to say, because there was some scenes that were heavily produced, I'll say it that way. And obviously, like the tea house, 100% real. And I feel like with certain scenes, you can tell when it's not and when it is. And I can say one thing, that one of our most famous scenes is not real. It was scripted, and that's crazy. Yes, baby.
Which
I
one?
gotta give my little girl a hug. Hold on.
Everybody, we're gonna end this in a minute. I kind of just, you know, I'm trying to get everybody's questions. You know, I know.
She's like, I want to see your room.
What was the scene that was 100% that your best scene that was not real? What? Oh, okay. All right then. Hey.
I already have it. So, yeah.
So let's end this on like a positive note. It's your birthday month. You have any plans for your birthday?
Well, funny you ask. Topher's been really secretive, and I know that he asked my parents something, and that's all I know so far. And he's been running around on phone calls, so who knows? But I think he's planning something, so I'm pretty excited about that.
So, so we might have a possible proposal of sorts. Well, you know, we'll
no,
see.
I don't think that. I think he's
Well,
just
if
like,
you know, that's the person that pops in my mind. If he's talking to your, you know, your fam behind your back, like I would think.
Yeah,
like, you know,
yeah. If we didn't, like, if it was kids involved, I could see that. But it's like probably like, yo, can you like take the kids this night? Like, I'm sure that's what it is. I'm sure there's nothing to do with engagement or anything like that. Just trying to get divorced first.
Well, good for you on that one. I mean, and then okay. Lastly, people were asking me about, like, I guess Alicia, your mom. Were you there? Were you at the Jeff's compound yesterday with Alicia? Or was it just your mom?
It was just my mom. I wasn't there.
People were like, "We're on Jeff's compound, please." So that was, you know.
Okay, yeah, I know a lot about it, so I can tell you real quick. So I guess his brother had bought the mansion. And him and his sister wives turn it into an Airbnb, and the sister wives are upstairs, and they turn it into, well, not an Airbnb, a bed and breakfast, and they're using it just to make money, make ends meet and stuff.
Wait.
And
so they're all like upstairs, like being like fundamentalists, and like they really turned that into a B&B.
Yeah, and I guess it's like booked out, and like my mom booked him like 6 months ago. She thought it'd be super cool to see.
Oh my god, I have to go there now. I have to see that.
Obviously, it's not like we support like Warren. It was just
I just have to go there for like more of curiosity's sake. I have to go there now. Like, let's road trip. We're going to the compound. Like, that's crazy. They actually they rent out like the downstairs while like they're like in like, you know, like the prairie dresses and the braids like upstairs, like being like, you know.
Yeah, apparently.
That is
cool.
insane.
I was jealous. I was like, oh, this sounds so cool. It's just fascinating.
Oh my god, I have to go now. I have to go and stay there. Just now, do you see like the women, like, you know? Well, you weren't there. I asking your mom that, but like that is crazy.
Yeah, I think they like do. I think they like make breakfast or something. I'm not sure. But apparently it's a thriving business, and the family's doing great at it. So.
Of course it's thriving. I want to go there right now. I want to go there tomorrow. Of course it'd be thriving. Who would not want to do that?
just to take a look on the most like secluded, like people who don't know this, like they do not allow media,
I'm
they don't
getting
allow
texts from
anyone
my
in there.
friends
So the
right now
fact
who
that
are
they're letting
listening to
people
this saying,
go
"Oh
there
my
is
God, can we go
crazy.
to Colorado City?" Like, I'm getting texts right now from my friends who are watching this live. Like, let's go to Utah tomorrow
Right?
and see this because I am. Look, do you hear the dings? Like that's my text going off. Like, oh my God, we have to go see this compound.
Yeah,
Like,
it's crazy.
I have to go. I have to go. That is insane.
It is pretty crazy.
All right, so let's end this. Dave, Deavan, thank you so much for coming on. Is there anything else you want to say? I know.
Nothing, but I'm just happy. I'm doing great. I'm out of my slump. I've never been this happy in a long time, and I have a beautiful house, beautiful kids. Just everything seems good right now. Finally, very
Good.
happy.
Well, I am happy for you. I'm happy things are getting better, and I want to thank everybody in the chat. Commenters, moderators, everybody, thanks for joining on tonight. I hope everyone has a great night, a great week, and I will see you really soon. And Deavan, thank you so much for hopping on with me tonight. And
Welcome.
all right, goodbye. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everyone.
I'll see you tomorrow night for more in Jeff's house in Utah. Bye.